What is up, y'all? We're here for our weekly manifestation oracle message. Hope you're doing well. We're just taking a look at the week ahead to see what we need to know for our manifestations, where we need to set our intention and put our energy. Ooh, okay, so first card out is Make a Wish. Jupiter moved into Cancer this week or last week. I can't remember what day, but it's been sometime recently. And that should be expanding things to do with our security, with things to do with how our home life runs, our intimate relationships. So this is good. This is like, and Jupiter will expand whatever you give it. So whatever effort you're making towards improving your security, improving your stability, improving your home life, improving your closest relationships, all the effort that you put in, Jupiter can really expand. So now's a really good time to not just make wishes, but follow through on them. If you don't have opportunities showing up, make your opportunities. This is a magical moment. Make a wish and enjoy its manifestation. So don't just listfully wish for something. When you make that wish and you set that intention, start taking inspired action. Or at the very least, do some meditation and prayer and ask the Creator to send you insight as to what your next steps are, and to send you resources and teachers and mentors and people to guide you along the way. And those can be people like from, social media and coaches that you find. I know whenever when it's time for me to learn something at a deeper level or expand my knowledge, or maybe I'm shifting my attention, it seems like the universe always sends me the perfect YouTuber, that I relate to, that I like learning from, just at the right time. And the energy of this week is really, according to like the Torah, is centered around borrowing light from that higher self. Understanding that there is really no time and space. Those are both illusions. In the end, we're in the eternal now. And so the perfected self that's already lived out the dream and the fullness of all the potential inside of you, it already exists, right? In another dimension. And so we can, through meditation, connect with that future self, and we can experience miraculous healing. We can get answers that we've been looking for. We can get information or understanding in certain subject matters that maybe we wanted to understand deeper, or insight and direction in areas where we might, have underestimated our capacity. So borrowing light from that higher self. My Kabbalah teacher, David Guillaume, had this really miraculous thing happen at one of his speaking engagements in the last week or so. He was in Tel Aviv, and a woman who had received a ticket to his event by her mom. Her mom couldn't go, so her mom gave the ticket to her daughter. Or maybe she bought the ticket for her daughter, because her mom was a student of David's, but the daughter didn't know anything about David. And it just so happens that, and this is probably why her mother gave her the ticket to the event, it was just going to be a seminar where David spoke and, gave insight and wisdom and things. But she had listened to a podcast, I think, of his, like in preparation, like to get hyped for the event. And he talked about this concept of borrowing light from our higher self. And this perfected self that's in another dimension is our future self, our destiny, our destined self, the self that's revealed the most potential. So this chick had recently had a throat surgery that went wrong, and she lost her ability to speak. And the doctors had told her that she might never speak again. And so she had lost her voice, and she was just recently trying to wrap her mind around this and cope with this tragedy. And so I think this is probably one of the reasons why her mother sent her to this seminar, is just to, try to encourage her and give her some resources to kind of like cope with this grief. But what happened was this girl took that information in so wholeheartedly that she sat down after listening to that podcast, did a meditation, and then went to the seminar. This was all like packed into a couple of days. Went to the seminar, and at the seminar, before it started, I think, or on the way there, she got her voice back. This was a miracle. This was not supposed to happen. And her giving her testimony to the group, like she was able to tell David the story, like I think after he spoke, and they got it on video, her telling him the story and the crowd listening to it. And it was just miraculous. It was a miracle. And he's just been talking about it. He's like, oh my God. So this is actually the week that the Torah talks about reaching out and drawing light in from that higher self that's already earned that light to be revealed. So whatever it is that you need the answer to, whatever it is that you're scared, like, oh my gosh, what if I don't have the shoes to fit this role? Like, there's a version of you that's already been there and done it and can hold your hand through the whole process. So prayer meditation, you know how the cards have been telling us for weeks now, spend time in prayer meditation. And I'll be honest, I have a ironclad, solid prayer routine that could always be more enhanced, I'm sure. But I am really bad about sitting in meditation. I take long walks and I let my thoughts just go. But I feel like that's kind of more like brainstorming or imagination time. And then I run, and that's kind of also brainstorming, imagination time. But there's not a lot of time where I just sit still and breathe and empty myself and wait for something to come through. And so I need to push myself to make that time. So should you. Friendship. Make a date for a play day with one or more friends. I feel this. I've been working so much over this spring. I haven't really seen any of my friends, other than the people that I work with, maybe like after a shift, like once or twice over the past few months. But yeah, there's something really inspiring when you spend time with your friends and when you spend time with the people that you love. It nourishes your soul so that you're excited to get back to your project or your work. And not only that, but like the person that you hang out with, they could have insights or ideas or, wisdom about the subject that you're pursuing, or ideas about like your business plan or whatever. But either way, you can just let go and you can play and have fun. And when you are in a state of play, that is a state of trust and surrender and joy and appreciation. And did you guys watch yesterday's video all the way through? Because at the end, and that reminds me, I need to share that photo in the community tab where it has the posts on the YouTube page. But at the end of the video, I shared a graphic that I can't remember where I found it, if it was on Google or whether it was from Christy Marie, one of her webinars, and I maybe like screenshotted it or something. I don't know, but this is you'll hear this talked about by many different people, but the emotional vibrational scale. And so they had the emotions listed out from lowest to highest vibrational. And that I put that at the end of the video so you guys could get a visual of the lower vibrational emotions and the higher vibrational emotions. And when you're in those higher vibrational states, you are in flow and you are magnetic and you like align in harmonious ways at the right time in the right place. But when you're in those lower vibrational emotions, you're contracted, you're shut off, you're not in good timing anymore, you're not resonant with the flow of the universe, and so it makes things harder. But having said that, getting together with friends usually puts us in those high vibrational feeling states. Plus, all work and no play makes Jane a dull girl. It doesn't it? All right. Let's see. We've got 2 cards. Ooh, divine magic and blessed change. So this is really like, hey, make a wish. Magic is in the air. Change is around the corner. Get together with friends. Have some fun. I'm loving this energy. Extra magical energy surrounds your situation right now, so expect miracles. I'm glad this came up because another part of the Torah focus this week is on a story about when Moses was approaching the promised land. He sent out leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel to go into, or the 12 tribes, they weren't in Israel yet. The promised land is Israel, and they were waiting to see if they were ready to enter Israel. And so he sent the 12 heads a head from all 12 tribes to go into Israel and basically come back with some recon. What's the information? What's it like? Like, how's the produce? Like, apparently the grapes are huge, and this is like a land of plenty, and it's like the lush, fertile paradise that they've been hoping for compared to being in the wilderness. Oh my God. But what happened was, the 12 leaders went into Israel and they realized, wow, like, we're coming into a city that's established here, and everybody's got their thing going on. And what if we become obsolete when we actually live with means and with stability, and we can start growing and flourishing? What if we lose our power? What if we lose our position? What if we lose our jobs? And so they ended up going back with bad intel to Moses and the rest of the Israelites. And they told them that it's not very good there. They made up like all of this bad negative things. Or at least they just focused on the negative and they didn't focus on the positive. And whether or not that was a conscious attempt to maintain their position, or whether it was an unconscious sabotaging moment, right? The way that it represents our limiting beliefs, essentially. It's not about that literal story itself, but the story is true for all of us, because we are all the Israelites waiting to go into that promised land, waiting to settle into the land that is our destined place, right? We all want to align with our highest destiny. We all want to know, okay, what purpose should I serve? What should I do with my gifts and talents that will be fulfilling, but that will actually, share goodness into the world? What's my purpose? What's God's plan for me? We all want to align with this, but at the same time, we have these limiting beliefs and unconscious defense mechanisms, and our ego is scared to expand and grow. It wants to stay small and safe and in the familiar and in the comfort zone. So it tells us things like, well, you don't want to do that because this is a risk, or you're going to put yourself out, this is going to be hard. There's no guarantees. You'll start making excuses and you'll start justifying why you should stay where you are. So it's that voice that keeps us from expanding into our fuller potential. It's that self-sabotage, that causes us to buy that gallon of ice cream, even though we finally lost 5 pounds. You know what I mean? So every time we get a little bit, further along, it's like we take 2 steps back. And this is what me and my friends were talking about at work the other day. I was like, oh no, I've been working so much, but then I also, have treated myself to some things that I've wanted for a long time. And it's like, it always seems to be exactly the amount of money that you have worked towards, saving, and then you'll give yourself some little purchases and then an expense will come up and you're like, oh, I'm back to where I started, So it's like there's always something that's within us that's sort of pulling against our progress. And the more that we can become wise to that part of ourselves and see its little tricks and traps before it gets the better of us, that's how we start really practicing that restriction and revealing more of our light. So we have that magical change, magical energy is surrounding us right now. So really look for opportunities. Really look for the positive. push yourself to be a little extra risky and courageous, and put yourself out there and try, be a little bit courageous and brave, because blessed change is possible. And that's basically what I was getting at with the Jupiter moving into Cancer. It's really going to change our personal lives, our home lives, like our comings and goings that affect us the most on a personal level every day. It can really expand and bring a lot of blessings there. It's also shifting our mindset and expanding our mindset and our outlook, and what we think is possible for ourselves. And Jupiter is super optimistic. You have to be optimistic to take a chance, to take a shot at something. If we're completely pessimistic, we just rot away and never really push ourselves out of our comfort zone. Okay, love that. Let's grab 2 cards from Wisdom of the Hidden Realms, just to put a little cherry on top of that Sunday. All right, what do we have here? The Wise Woman of the Wonderland. I believe she came out to visit the last time we had our manifestation reading. Integrity and compromise. So I think that this is about having integrity with ourselves. And what we've been learning lately is that if we want the world to treat us better, we have to start by treating ourselves better. And so if there are things that you want to happen for yourself in your life, but there are still lies you're telling yourself, or empty promises that you keep making yourself, or you keep treating yourself with the same bad behavior, you're going to attract people who are flaky, and they're going to treat you with bad behavior. And you're not going to get people or jobs or employers who appreciate your value or respect your time, right? Or your effort. And so I think this is the compromise and integrity, is have integrity with yourself. If you want to start a healthier routine, then follow through for yourself, because you care about yourself and you care about your future self. If you want to take care of your future self, start saving now in ways that can compound your savings. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait until you're old and helpless and desperate and don't have anything there for yourself, right? And believe me, I know that it seems overwhelming and hard, right? Because I've never had a lot of money above and beyond what I need to live. And it can be so easy to push it out in the future and say, well, whatever I have now, it's not going to make that big of a difference, so it doesn't matter anyway. But it does matter, and it does make a difference, and it does add up, and that interest starts to come and collect too. And so even with my beans that I bring home, I have made it a point to start putting aside money and putting aside savings and growing, like telling myself I am growing wealth. I am building financial independence. Even if other people would laugh at me and mock me and say that it's a pipe dream, it doesn't matter, because every success story that I've heard by every underdog started the same way. So have integrity with yourself. Compromise a little bit, right? You've got to work hard, but you also have to play a little bit and spend time with people that you love and have beauty in your life too. Because if we don't have beauty in our life, then our soul starts to feel shriveled, and it doesn't have a reason. It doesn't feel like there's a reason to live. Beauty is literally what we live for. And when cruelty is systemized, one of the strategies is to deprive people of beauty. So it breaks their spirit. So we are following through with the promises we are making with ourselves. In fact, okay, y'all hold me accountable. I'm going to come on here and I'm going to tell you tomorrow if I broke this promise to myself. But I think that if I can stop staying up a little bit later, so I do these videos when I come home from work, and then after that I shower and I eat dinner in the middle of the night, and I feel like I've worked all day and I've created all day and I just want to chill and have some veg out time. But a lot of times I end up falling asleep because I'm so sleepy, but I don't want to go to bed because then I haven't felt like I haven't like lived just like a relaxed part of the day yet. So sometimes I end up doing what's called a couch nap, where I'm sort of watching the show. I've got a timer set, but I've been couch napping too long and it's gotten out of control. And I need to get more quality sleep and get up earlier and make the most of those early morning hours. And I'd like to shift my schedule so that I don't have to film at night after work anymore. And that's just free time. So I think that one of the smallest, most drastic changes I can make is no more couch nap, just go up to bed. Stay awake, watch the show until you're done, and then go to bed. So tonight, y'all hold me to it. I'm not gonna couch nap. I will tell you tomorrow if I actually did it or not. But, so y'all will be my accountability buddy. But like, just know, I've been telling myself that I need to do this for a while now. And this is the number one thing I always say, I bet you would be a game changer for me. So what is that thing for you? Y'all tell me in the comments. Let's all have this support group. What is the one thing that you've been lying to yourself about, or being a player with yourself, or giving yourself the runaround, or not keeping the promise, or blowing off something big that you've been meaning to start? Like, what is that thing? What is that thing? And what is the one identifiable step that you can either quit doing or start doing that will send you in that trajectory? For me, no more couch naps, okay? We're going to try to break this habit. So put in the comments one thing that you want to do for yourself to love yourself and to have respect for yourself and to have integrity for your dreams, right? And to integrity with yourself so that you can follow through on your dreams. All right. And then my compromise this week is I wanted to be super productive, but I know that there are people that want to hang out with me, like my mom. So I'm going to go have a little bit of social time, and I'm not going to be so crazy about trying to make, cram a whole lifetime into 2 days. So, all right. Next card. Let's see. I happened to see Gaia's garden at the bottom of the deck, which is about fruitful abundance. So I love that. She's holding cornucopias. Sacred union. You guys, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the same cards that we got last time. That is so crazy. But sacred union is like what we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. It feels like this is what our soul is being prepared for. In fact, we started talking about this either last night or maybe it was our Secret Teachings of Jesus night. But when we are being prepared to come into the sacred union, it's like we're shedding layers, like we're shedding garments, right? Think about the sacred union happening in the bridal chamber. The Bible uses this language a lot, the bride and the bridegroom coming into the bridal chamber. This is a spiritual symbolism, right? And what do we do when we're preparing to be brought into the bridal chamber? We are stripping off our daytime garments, right? This is our waking consciousness, the current consciousness that we're dressed in, that we move around with in our conscious life. In order to align with that higher self that's already perfected and become one with that self, we need to shed our conscious thinking that we've been moving and operating under so far. And we need to put on the clothing of what we would be wearing in the nighttime, and not just like a sleep clothes, right? We're in the bridal chamber. So this is the clothing of desire and intimacy and coming into union. This is the kind of clothing that you want to inspire exploration, right? And so this is the kind of consciousness that is excited and wanting to look deeper into the meaning of the things that are happening around us. Look deeper into the meaning of the circumstances in our life. When things are playing out the way they are, what is the Creator trying to show us or remind us of or make us aware of, right? So it's about shifting into a whole nother mindset, a whole nother consciousness, a whole nother awareness. And it happens, this transition, this transformation, it happens on a heart level. And our heart is an information processor. And so is our mind, right? But our heart is too. And I think that many times our heart can inform, it should be that our heart, once healed, informs our mind. Not emotional heart, but our spiritual intelligence coming through our heart should inform our mind, because this is like the sum of our healed heart, the information coming through, and a mind that has been healed and transformed. This is the summation of these things. It gives us our consciousness, right? Our perception, the hermeneutic lens that we perceive life through. So when we heal our heart, this is a bridge that we receive information from our spirit. And so this is the bridge that connects us to that perfection, to that perfected state. Remember earlier we were saying we want to borrow light from our higher self. When we become one with our higher self, that is the sacred union. It's the divine masculine and the divine feminine becoming one. The divine masculine being our outer expression of our personality in the waking life and how we move and live in this world. But our divine feminine is our instincts, it's our intuition, it's that connection with our spirit and with our soul. So if it makes sense, the creator, the light, is the masculine, the father, but the Shina, the spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, that's the feminine, okay? And they go hand in hand, but the way that we see God moving in our life is usually in an outer way through the circumstances that are showing us things. But when the Spirit of God is moving in our life, it usually is something coming through in a quiet way that guides us and nudges us in the right direction. And so many times we dismiss that and we think that, oh, this isn't valuable information, or this isn't valid, because it's not solid, concrete, we can't see it. And that is usually the very thing that's going to save us. Is that inner voice, is that inner guidance. But we have to learn to discern, because there's a lot of voices going on in here. And there's the voice of the ego. There's the voice of the subconscious. There's the voice of fear. There's the voice of conditioned beliefs and thinking. And so that's why we have to do the work to perfect the vessel to channel the light through, right? Otherwise, we're getting static. We're getting interference. We're getting information through filters that are skewing the way that we perceive and hear and understand things. So we correct the soul, we offload, we unpack, we do the work, having 24 hours round the clock support for and self-help. And then finally, it's like the discernment starts coming through one day, and the wisdom, the insight, and the clarity. And that little voice, that very quiet voice, becomes easier to hear, if even just slightly. So, all right, y'all, that is all for tonight. Make a wish. Really, things are coming together. I'm excited about it. Spend some time with friends. Feel free. Don't feel like you're under pressure to get a room built in a day. Like, take some time out to be with people you love. So make a wish. This is a magical moment. Make a wish, enjoy its manifestation. Extra magical energy surrounds your situation right now. Expect miracles. So it's like, make a wish. There's a lot of magic right now. Expect it to come true. And reassurance that blessed change is coming. A major life change brings great blessings. All right, y'all. And on top of that, it's like, keep showing up for yourself. Keep being true to yourself and your calling, and don't compromise that. And in the midst of it, we're coming into sacred union within ourselves. And as a result, that attracts sacred union in a romantic way too. So if you don't already have a partner, you may be now prepared as a soul to actually attract, to send out the proper signal to call in someone who would be your true equal, right? Because there's, some of us go through periods of change that it's going to change us so drastically that had we began a relationship at the beginning of that, it wouldn't have lasted beyond, because we've changed so drastically so quickly. You know, sometimes people can grow with us, but sometimes the change is so insurmountable that it's like we're almost a different person. So if you've been through a period of change, and you're like, man, I haven't been in a relationship for a while, it could be because your signal was changing so frequently that there just wasn't a stable output to grab hold of. But now we're settling into our true base, authentic, resonant vibration. So that can call someone in, because now we're having a more consistent imminence. So we've settled into ourselves enough to where now, okay, somebody can meet us there and match who we are, not who we are just for this moment, but like who we are, and be on the trajectory with us to go into the rest of life together and to grow on the same trajectory together. All right, y'all, very exciting. Ciao. Tomorrow we will be back for our weekly alchemy message, where we unpack the week's lessons and how we're approaching the work. All right, peace.